Welcome, friends, to Farm Fresh Designs 59. I am so excited because today, June the 1st, Decoupage Central is releasing their Christmas papers. So you want to make sure that you go to their link today and order yours. And I'm going to show you a few projects with some of those new papers. So my first project is a little wooden box that my husband made me just out of scrap wood. And it was the only reason he made it for me was because I didn't have a box that was the right size. So I painted it with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. Now the stamp I'm using is the IOD Alphabellies stamp. And I'm stamping it with a gold ink pad that I get at Hobby Lobby, and it's called Brilliance. And I just go around the inside edge of that box. I'm going to be putting a piece of decoupage paper on top, so I don't need it to extend on the very whole bottom of the box. Now look at this Christmas tree, this white and gold. Oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. So I'm just edging that paper with that gold ink. Now, I wish I hadn't done that because that gold ink is not permanent and it smears just a little bit. So I've got all that finished up, and I'm putting Mod Podge up at the top, and I'm going to put it inside of that box, and then I'll do just a little bit, and I press it down. Sometimes I use a little piece of cellophane wrap to push it down, and then I'll fold it up, put a little bit more Mod Podge on it, and then just work my way until I get all the way to the end. And I had to be careful to not put my paintbrush into that gold ink because it was going to make a big mess out of it. Now these are some resin molds that I already had made up, and this first one is a company called LeBlanc, and the name of the stamp is just called Gift Boxes, and it's a mold that has different boxes on it that have ribbons on it. And then I have some Christmas trees from that Rare and Coveted mold called Boughs of Holly, and I've already had those made up with resin, amazing casting resin. Now I painted them white first, and then on this particular box, I'm using some gold metallic paint that I get at Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting the ribbon that shows up on this particular mold. And then on the little Christmas trees, there's just like little dots that look like ornaments. So I paint those on, and then I dry brush over the entire tree. Now on that little tree, I'm going to be gluing it to a little jingle block that you can get at Dollar Tree. And I'll let it set up for a pretty good while. And then I put two of those little cubes that you get at the Dollar Tree and glued those to the back of the ornament. Now I'm going to be making some trim to put around the edge of that box, and I make it out of hot glue. And your hot glue gun needs to be at least 100 watts for it to be able to not glump up and make a mess. And this is a redesign with Prima mold. And the reason I'm making it out of hot glue is because resin would be too expensive, but it's going to be around the outside edges. Now watch, I have a piece of trim up at the top, and I cut it at an angle. And then on the side piece, I kind of butted up against it, and I miter that piece as well. And then I put those pieces of trim on with Tight Bond Thick and Quick. Now when you use hot glue, you're going to have to paint it first, and I went on and painted it with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint just to prime that trim, and then I went back with that same gold metallic paint on top of that trim. So those molds have been setting up with that glue on those little jingle blocks, and now I'm just gluing it to the base of that little box so that they look 3D. Now, they're not double-sided, but because they're sitting up on those blocks, they do look more like they're double-sided. Now, these are some little ornaments that I made with the IOD Jingle mold, and there's 3 little ornaments. So I'm going to make them double-sided, and I'm using amazing casting resin. So I've already set up and made 3 of the ornaments. So to make them double-sided, once they get finished up, I pop those out, and then I pour some more resin into those molds, and then I gently lay those little molds on top of it, and then they just kind of seam together once those 2 resins connect, and then you've got a double-sided mold. Now I'll let it sit for a pretty good while just to make sure that that resin up underneath has set up really good. Sometimes it does kind of leak out, so I just use a Q-tip. Now, I'm using a stamp called Merry and Bright, which is by IOD, and it's a retired stamp. And I stamped it on a little napkin because then I decoupaged it onto this little label. That's the new IOD Conservatory label. Now, before I show you the final piece, this is actually just a door. It came from my in-laws' house. It was above the stove, and it was a shorter door, so it had a trim on it that you'll see, so I pulled that off, and I had to clean it up real good because it was kind of greasy. And I made sure to get all the oils off of it. And then I'm painting it with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, and I put several coats on it. Now, this is that same paper, but this is a really large version of it. And I think it's like 11 by 16. It's really big. So I needed a big piece of wood to put it on. So I'm putting it on the same way that I did the other. But this time I didn't edge it with that gold ink. I learned my lesson that time. And then I used my cellophane wrap to just gently press down that paper as I work my way down. Now you have to be careful because you have to be really easy with that cellophane wrap because it still can tear the paper if you rub it just a little bit too hard. But look at this Christmas tree. Isn't it just beautiful? Now, I really debated on how to finish off this particular project, and I finally just settled on something just very simple. So this time I'm making a lot of molds, and I'm just going to go around the edge of that decoupage paper and just make a little frame. And this is from the IOD Trimmings mold. And so I put cornstarch in my mold, and then I used Dawes air dry clay. And the IOD molds have the little micro rims, so you just kind of push it in. But then I like to go back with like an old gift card or credit card, and just to make that edge smooth. And then also it helps to pull off that excess clay so I don't waste any. And then once again, I'm going to have to miter it. So on this one, up at the top, I put that little mold right up there, right in the middle. And watch me as I do this. So I kind of take that other mold and kind of butt it up against it. And I use that credit card and I cut it at an angle. And then it goes through both pieces of clay. And then I pull those little extra pieces off. And now it looks like a picture frame. So that took a pretty good while to get all of that mold on there. And then I painted it with Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint. And then dry brushed it with gold. And then that's the little sign that I put up at the top. I put it back with the little Jenga block on the back. And these are the little gold ornaments. And I just put a whole bunch of Titebond Thick and Quick down on the base of that box. And I just kind of put them on top and just let it sit for a pretty good while. But look at these beautiful white and gold Christmas trees. I just love them. I think that gold is so, so pretty at Christmas. So what do you think? So if you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and become part of our family. All right, the next little paper that I'm going to be using, it has 2 on one sheet, and it's a beautiful red cardinal, and he has a little wreath around him. So I've gotten just a little sign that you get, and I painted it with Rust-Oleum chiffon cream. But I thrifted this little sign, only paid 49 cents for it. Oh, I was so excited. And this is the IOD Kindest Regards stamp. And I'm stamping all over the top of the box. And I'm using the IOD black ink. Now, normally before I put decoupage paper down, if there's something behind it, I'll paint the back of the decoupage paper white, but I didn't this time because I wanted that stamp to kind of bleed through just a little bit because it was pretty faint anyway. And then I went around the edges of this paper with the black ink, and now I'm just using Mod Podge to put it on this little sign. But I just think this is such a pretty red cardinal. Now I'm making 2 little molds from the IOD Holly Lane, and it's just 2 little pieces, and it's got some holly leaves that kind of mimic what's on that particular Mod Podge or on that decoupage paper. And I make those 2 molds with air dry clay, and I put them on either side. And remember, I made that little sign a while ago with the Conservatory label and the Merry and Bright that said Merry Christmas. I did the same thing, and I put that in the center of that, on top of that little piece of decoupage paper. And then I'm just using some Dixie Belle paint, and it's called English Ivy. And I go around those molds, and then I use Dixie Belle Barn Red to paint the little berry leaves. But because that was kind of bright, then after it dried, the next day I went back and I put Dixie Belle white wax over it just to tone it down just a little bit. And then that's all there is to it. But I just think it's so pretty, and it's just a simple little shelf sitter. So what do you think? Do you love this? I do. I like all the different projects today. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some pieces that I have done in the past using Decoupage Central's decoupage paper, and I'll make sure to share that link in the description box below, and I will also share the link to these videos that I put out last Christmas. But look at that Santa. He is so sweet, and if you look at his eyes, he looks like he's exhausted. But I made shadow boxes with these as well. But I'll make sure to share the link to those videos. Now the next 2 projects use the IOD Ginger and Spice mold. And then just a little extra one. And these are from last Christmas, and I'll make sure to share the link for this particular video that I made. Now, you're probably wondering, Myra, why are you showing us these old molds that we don't have and that, you know, they're hard to find? Well, Jonelle at Decoupage Central was able to get some of them. And so these will also be available on today on her website. So if you want some of these molds and you don't have them, now is the time to get them at a really good price. But I love this little Ginger and Spice. I just think she's so pretty, and I've used her for so many different projects. Now, the transfer set from this past Christmas, Very Merry Christmas, once again, this is going to be something that Jonelle was able to get her hands on, and that you can go ahead and get yours now and be ready for Christmas. And if you have a booth, you know that we have to prepare for Christmas early because people are ready to start buying Christmas right after Labor Day. But these are just some little ornaments that I made in a previous video. And I'll make sure to share that link as well. But I just think she's so sweet. And I'm actually going to use one of these transfers in an upcoming video that is not Christmas. Now, these particular projects that were in previous videos, they use the Merry and Bright stamp, and they also use the Jingle mold. Now, I want to caution you, Jonelle only has 2 of the Jingle molds. So if you want them, I'm giving you a lot of extra time to go ahead and get on that website because she only has 2 of those. So if you did not get one of those before, this is your chance to get one. But I just think these are such great Christmas projects that you can make with these retired pieces. So on the website today, you'll be able to go ahead and start getting your Christmas papers, and you will have access to these retired Christmas pieces that maybe you don't already have. And this is the last older project that I'm going to show you with the ginger and spice. And this is just a little sign that I made this past Christmas with the old Christmas tree mold as well and the courier stamp. And my husband made me this really large box made out of barnwood, and I attached it with wire. Now, in the first video, it was pretty bright, and a couple people mentioned putting white wax on it. So before I made this video, I went over all these molds with some white wax to kind of tone them down just a little bit. But oh, I just think it's so pretty, and I love that Le Courier stamp. All right, here is the part that some of you have seen on my community tab. There is going to be a giveaway. So today there will be a winner of the resin molds from the very rare and coveted IOD mold called Boughs of Holly. And this mold is so hard to find, and when you do, it is extremely expensive. So in order to be eligible for this giveaway, you must type in the comments giveaway. You don't need to add any extra comments because that way it'll be easier for me to go through the comments. And then if you want to leave a second comment with maybe your favorites today, do that as a second comment. But just leave the word giveaway in the comments, and then you'll be eligible for it. And then next Saturday on the community tab, I will announce the winner of this entire set of Boughs of Holly resin molds. And I made them with the amazing casting resin. Well, and I probably will throw in just some extra little surprises, but these things, you can find these sets on Etsy. There are some creators who sell them, but I want to make sure that I have a giveaway and offer this to you because these are such incredible molds and so many people are still looking for them. So make sure to put in the comments giveaway, and then you can come back with a second comment and tell me what was your favorite today. So on the website today, you will have access to all the Christmas papers, and then there will be Merry and Bright stamps. There will be the Very Merry Christmas transfer set. There will be some ginger and spice molds, and then there are 2 jingle molds that you are able to purchase, but they will go really fast. Now, this Boughs of Holly, no, it is not available. They're just so hard to find. But if you want any of those products, today is the day to go ahead and get what you like. And I just showed you just a little bit of what's offered. And the winner will be announced, just one more time, next Saturday on the community tab. And here's the pictures of those products that will be available on the website today. And then go to the Decoupage Central Facebook page, and you'll see all of these creators sharing different new Decoupage Central papers. So make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and good luck on the giveaway. And I hope to see you on Monday with a new video with just some of my normal projects.